She claimed girls' trip to Vegas, but I saw him board the same flight. Reddit cheating stories. I watched the boarding scanner flash green for him, and my brain did that slow, stupid thing where it tries to convince you you're looking at the wrong person, even while your eyes are locking onto details. Same crooked tie. Same watch he always tapped during meetings. Same half jog down the jet bridge like he was late to something important. My stomach tightened so hard, I actually had to grab the cold metal edge of the stanchion to steady myself, like the airport was tilting. The worst part was that I wasn't even supposed to be here. I wasn't on some paranoid stakeout. I wasn't checking up on her. I was standing 10 feet from gate C14 with a paper coffee cup burning my palm because I'd come to do something normal, helpful, husband stuff. And now I was watching him disappear onto the plane my wife had just texted me she was boarding with the girls, and I could feel the air in my lungs turn thin, like the terminal suddenly didn't have enough oxygen for lies this big. It was Friday morning, early enough that the airport still smelled like sanitizer and stale pastries. She'd been giddy all week about her girls' trip, tossing outfits onto the bed and playing music while she packed, asking me if I liked the black dress or the sparkly top, laughing when I said I didn't know the difference because that's why you're staying home, babe. The plan was simple. She'd Uber to the airport, meet her friends, and they'd fly to Vegas for 3 nights. Pool, shows, drinks, the usual. I had work, so I couldn't take her. I kissed her goodbye at the door like any normal husband would, and I told myself I was happy she was excited, even when a tiny part of me noticed she never once named which friend was sitting next to her on the flight. The only reason I ended up at the airport was because she forgot her passport wallet. She realized it about 10 minutes after she left. I was in the kitchen rinsing a dish when my phone lit up with her name and a string of frantic messages. I forgot my passport thing. It's in the top drawer by the junk mail. Please, 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 can you bring it? I'm already halfway there. I'll owe you forever. I remember rolling my eyes and smiling at the same time because it felt so on brand, organized in the big ways, chaos in the small ones. I grabbed the wallet, threw on a hoodie, and drove like a person trying to do a good deed without turning it into a crisis. The parking garage was a nightmare. I sprinted through security like I was late to my own flight, and by the time I reached her terminal, I was sweaty, annoyed, and honestly proud of myself for being the guy who shows up. I texted her, "I'm by your gate. Where are you?" She replied, "OMG, you're the best. We're boarding soon. I'm grabbing water." That we sat on my screen like a casual word that didn't deserve to be suspicious. But it immediately made me picture 4 women crowded around a kiosk, laughing and taking selfies. So when I saw Evan, her co-worker, walking toward the line with a small black carry-on and a smug little calmness like he belonged there, it didn't fit into the picture my brain had already drawn. It felt like someone had reached into my chest and pinched one nerve between 2 fingers. Evan worked at her department. I met him twice at company things. The kind of guy who shook your hand like he was testing your grip, who said your wife's name too often in conversation, like he enjoyed it. She complained about him plenty. He's such a tryhard. He thinks he's funny. He never stops talking. I believed her because I wanted to. Because trusting your spouse is supposed to be the default, not a reward you hand out after you've reviewed evidence. He stepped into the boarding lane, scanned his pass, and the machine beeped. Green. He didn't look around. He didn't hesitate. He didn't have the cautious energy of someone who's not supposed to be there. He just went. I stood there holding her passport wallet like an idiot, staring after him, and the noise of the airport got weirdly muffled, as if my body had decided to turn down the volume so my brain could process the one sound that mattered, my own pulse. I looked at the screens above the gate. Destination, Las Vegas. Same flight number she'd texted me earlier. Same departure time. For a second, I honestly tried to make it harmless. Maybe he's going to Vegas for a conference. Maybe he's visiting family. Maybe it's coincidence. But coincidences don't usually make your mouth go dry and your hands shake. I called her. It rang twice, then went to voicemail. I didn't leave a message because I didn't trust my voice to sound normal. I texted instead, "Where are you exactly?" She replied almost instantly, in line. "Don't panic. I'll grab it when we sit." Don't panic. That phrase is like gasoline. You don't tell someone don't panic unless you're trying to control a fire you already see. I moved closer to the gate entrance, pretending to check my phone like everyone else. The boarding group called. People shuffled forward with that practiced, sleepy impatience. I scanned every face that passed, searching for her hair, her jacket, the white sneakers she wore when she traveled. My throat felt tight, like I'd swallowed something wrong. Then I saw her. She wasn't with 3 women laughing. She wasn't juggling a group chat and a coffee and a tote bag full of cosmetics. She was alone, walking fast, eyes down, like she wanted to slip onto the plane without being noticed. She reached the scanner, handed over her pass, and right as the agent waved her through, she lifted her head, just slightly, and her gaze flicked past me. Not at me, past me, like I was a stranger. Like she didn't know the man standing there with a wallet that contained her whole weekend. It was such a small movement, a tiny choice, but it was the moment everything inside me stopped trying to be generous. I stepped forward. Hey, her body jolted. You know how you can tell when someone is startled because they didn't expect you to exist in that place? She turned, and her face did this quick rearrangement. Surprise first, then a forced brightness that landed wrong because it arrived half a second too late. Oh my God, she said. You made it. I held up the wallet. My hand felt numb. You said you were in line. I was, she said quickly, and her eyes darted behind her toward the jet bridge like she wanted to run into it. We're about to close boarding. I repeated, softer than I meant. Her mouth opened, closed. That pause lasted maybe a second, but it felt long enough for my whole marriage to pass through it. The girls, she said too fast. They already went on. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't make a scene. I didn't want to be the guy airport security escorts out. I just watched her eyes keep flicking toward the bridge, and I pictured Evan on the plane, stowed and seated, waiting. I leaned in slightly. Is Evan on this flight? Her face went blank in a way that was almost impressive. Like she'd trained for the moment. What? No, she said, and it came out too smooth, like she'd rehearsed a denial she hoped she'd never need. I nodded once, slow. I just watched him board. Her cheeks flushed. Not embarrassment, anger. Like I'd broken a rule by noticing. I don't have time for this, she hissed under her breath. We're going to miss boarding. I said again, and this time it wasn't a question. It was me tasting the word like it was poison. She grabbed for the wallet. I didn't let go immediately. That tiny tug of war felt ridiculous and devastating. Her fingers were warm. Mine were cold. Give it, she said, eyes bright with something that wasn't tears yet. Please. I finally released it because holding it felt like holding the last normal piece of our life, and it was starting to slip anyway. She turned like she was going to disappear down the bridge. Then she hesitated, half a beat, like she expected me to say something softer. Like she wanted me to rescue her from consequences the way I'd rescued her from forgetting important things. Have fun on your girl's trip, I said quietly. She flinched, and for a second her expression cracked. But then the gate agent called out, final boarding, and she chose the bridge. I stood there watching her go, and I remember noticing the dumbest details. The scuff marks on the carpet, the hum of the overhead lights, the way a little boy nearby dropped his stuffed dinosaur and his mom scooped it up without even looking annoyed. Normal life, happening around the moment mine, split in half. I walked out of the terminal like I was leaving a funeral. In the parking garage, I sat in my car for a long time with my hands on the steering wheel, not turning the key, just staring at the concrete pillar in front of me. I kept thinking of all the times she'd said, girl's trip, like it was a magic phrase that made her untouchable. A harmless label that meant I wasn't allowed to question anything. I kept replaying the way she looked past me, the way her first instinct wasn't, I'm sorry, it was we're going to miss boarding. Like the only emergency was time, not me. When I got home, the house felt staged. Her makeup bag still on the bathroom counter. The throw blanket folded neatly on the couch. Her favorite mug in the dishwasher. It's wild how betrayal can be invisible. How it can leave the furniture the same, but turn the air unfamiliar. She didn't call me. Not once. That night, I opened our shared laptop and searched her email because I didn't know what else to do with my hands. I found the itinerary she'd forwarded to herself. Hotel booking. 2 guests. 1 king bed. Evan's name wasn't on it, but the second guest wasn't one of her friends either. It was just Mr. and Mrs. Like they'd left it vague on purpose, like the hotel didn't need to know who the lie belonged to. Around midnight, she finally texted, "Can we not do this while I'm here? Please. No denial. No explanation. Just a request to delay consequences until it was convenient." I didn't reply. The next morning I called a lawyer. Not because I was trying to be dramatic, but because I needed someone to tell me what reality looked like from the outside. Someone calm. Someone who didn't love her. Someone who couldn't be manipulated by the version of her that laughed in my kitchen and stole my fries and called me her safe place. I don't know what happens next yet. I'm sitting in my own house, listening to the quiet, realizing I've been holding my breath for years without noticing. I keep thinking about that moment at the gate, the point where she had a choice between honesty and the bridge, and she chose the bridge. If you made it to the end, thank you for watching. And if you've ever had a lie fall apart in a public place where you couldn't even react the way you wanted to, I'd really like to hear about it. Share your story in the comments if you're comfortable.